my show had value, and that I'm sorry that that what I was doing had value, And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
The Wicked Weave! Normally, Uncle KC does not like to see a woman crying. Normally, my toxic masculinity, it would have me wanting to fix her problem, or at minimum, give her a shoulder to cry on. When I see a woman crying, I'm at least feeling empathetic, but for some reason, I'm having a very hard time finding empathy for the Wicked Weave. For some reason, I'm having a hard time feeling sorry for Joy Reid. I don't know if it's the increased baldness. Seems like the Wicked Weave is in a race with Stephen A. Smith to see whose hairline can recede the fastest. As you just saw, Joy Reid's not only winning that race, she's already won. I don't know if it's the years of spreading mythical racism, the years of exploiting her own community that has me lacking sympathy for Joy Reid. Whatever the reason, I seem to be experiencing feelings of joy watching our bundle of joy break down in tears. If you have been following the channel for a while, you were not surprised yesterday morning when news leaked that MSNBC was eliminating Joy Reid's woke welfare. Here on the channel, we have been showing you signs for months. First, MSNBC trimmed her budget. At some point last year, I had to start referring to the Wicked Weave as the artist formerly known as Weave. One Friday night, Joy Reid was showing off her expensive hair. The following Monday, even with her ratings dwindling, she had more viewers than hair. As it turns out, MSNBC had eliminated her budget for weaves, which turned the Wicked Weave into the Balding Beauty. A couple of months ago, right before Christmas, MSNBC presented Joy Reid with two options. She could either accept a substantial decrease in woke welfare, or she could seek employment elsewhere. When you look at her colleagues in the business of mythical racism, it becomes obvious that seeking employment elsewhere, that is not an option. Tiffany Cross, Bomani Jones, Jamel Hill, Karen Phillips. You guys remember Karen, the dude who used to write for Deadspin? He was the doofus that exploited an innocent child who was dressed as the Kansas City Chief, and Karen accused the child of mythical racism. Max Kellerman, he was on the payroll in the business of mythical racism. Max was constantly apologizing for his white privilege, thinking that would prevent Stephen A. Smith from divorcing him. Skip Bayless, he's another one who would apologize for white privilege in a desperate attempt to be accepted. You know what all these people have in common? They're all unemployed. Well, KC, that's not true. Jamel Hill has a show on True TV. She is a huge star. True TV? For starters, how in the hell's a professional liar on True TV? Smelly Jamelli debuted on this dump back in October. So far, 16 episodes have been released, yet for some reason, I can't seem to find ratings for a single episode. I wonder why. You get the point, though. Leaving MSNBC, that was not an option for Joy Reid. So I am sure she was willing to take a pay cut to stay at the network. Problem is, MSNBC wasn't willing to let her stick around if she was working for free. Now, this is pure speculation on my part, but I think the pay cut, I think that was an attempt by MSNBC to force Joy Reid into quitting. Like I told you guys yesterday, I think MSNBC has been wanting to fire Joy Reid for years now, but they were scared. They were scared of being accused of racism, so they offer her a substantial pay cut, hoping her pride would force her into quitting. Joy Reid might not have much going for her, but she is damn sure proud of her pride. She celebrates every year by riding in the Pride Parade during Woke Christmas. When Joy Reid shocked MSNBC by accepting less money, the network, they had no other choice but to let her go. But it's not just Joy Reid who was affected by this decision. There were dozens of staffers working behind the scenes helping Joy Reid spread hatred and division. Keyword, were, past tense. Because as of yesterday morning, their ass was fired too. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. This morning on the second channel, talked about the divorce between ESPN and Major League Baseball. It is rare that I agree with decisions made by ESPN, but I understand their decision to dump baseball, get out of the business of baseball. I explain why in the video, so head over to the second channel and check it out. Headline at Mediaite. New MSNBC head holds hasty meeting with Joy Reid staffers. Apparently, someone leaked the story of Joy Reid being fired yesterday morning. People working behind the scenes, they found out same way that we did. Now, my inside sources, they told me that some staffers, they did not believe that Joy Reid was actually fired. They rushed to NBC studios in Manhattan, but when they didn't see her broom in her usual parking spot, they knew the rumors were true. Oh no! How am I going to feed my goldfish? I have a doctorate from woke, you and mythical racism and the plight of the ultimate victim. I'm not qualified to work anywhere else, and with Trump eliminating diversity, hiring, and welfare, I'll be unemployed and broke forever. Sometimes when the host of a show is fired, the staff, they get reassigned to other positions at the network. MSNBC is owned by NBC, which is owned by Comcast. This is an organization with thousands and thousands of jobs. I'm assuming that Joy Reid had, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 people on her staff. With an organization as large as NBC, it shouldn't be hard for the staffers to be reassigned, right? According to Mediaite, every single staffer that worked with Joy Reid was fired yesterday morning. MSNBC held an emergency meeting where they listened to the staff's outrage. They listened to their complaints. They allowed them to express their frustration at finding out that the media career of their Lord and risen queen had been officially buried. And then MSNBC proceeded to fire them. They tried to ease their concerns by pointing to the hundreds of openings at the company. Don't worry, everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, another door opens. And in your case, that door also slams in your face. Naturally, MSNBC was unable to ease their concerns because it's highly unlikely that Joy Reid's staff is going to get another job at the network, which is exactly what MSNBC should be doing. For longtime viewers of this channel, I'm sure this plan sounds familiar to you because it is the exact same plan that Uncle KC has been telling CNN to use for years now. How many times have we talked about eradicating the woke fungus? How many times have I said that it's not enough to get rid of the host? It's not enough to shuffle your daily lineup. It's not enough to fire aging fossils who apologize for their white privilege. How many times have I said, if you want to eradicate the woke fungus, you have to start from the inside and work your way out? Firing Joy Reid, that is not enough. If you keep her staff, which are the people responsible for researching the propaganda that you see on the show, nothing will change. MSNBC will just hire some other doofus and they'll be doing the same thing that Joy Reid was doing. If you want to eradicate the fungus, you have to get rid of everyone that has been indoctrinated. Does firing Joy Reid and her staff mean that MSNBC has completely eradicated the fungus? Obviously not. They are replacing Joy Reid with a panel, and one of the people included on the panel, it is Simone Sanders Townsend. Now, baldness is not the only thing that Simon has in common with the artist formerly known as Weave. Hell, Simone doesn't even hide her baldness. If she was a chef, no hairnet would be required. Simone Sanders, she's also a believer in mythical racism. Over the weekend, before it was announced that Joy Reid was being fired, Simone Sanders asked a military general if he was fired because of his skin color. There are still plenty of people at MSNBC infected with the woke fungus. It's going to be interesting to see how everything is handled going forward. Am I expecting MSNBC to magically become a network that attracts an audience of normal people? No, but I'm wondering if the firing of Joy Reid is part of a shift that we are seeing in the mainstream media, where mainstream media outlets are distancing themselves from the radicals. We used to consider people like Rachel Maddow radical, but when compared to Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow is tame. I don't agree politically with Little Red Riding Hood Jen Psaki, but she's not obsessed with spreading fake racism. That doofus that comes on late in prime time on MSNBC, Neil O'Connell, or whatever the hell his name is, super nerd Chris Hayes, these guys, they're on the left, but they're not radical like Joy Reid. Maybe we are starting to see these mainstream outlets distance themselves from the radicals. Think about it. Don Lemon fired by CNN. After years of huge embarrassing failure, ESPN finally decided to fire Bomani Jones. Earlier this morning, we talked about ABC forcing the Yentas to tone down their rhetoric. Karen Phillips was fired by Deadspin, Tiffany Cross, Keith Olbermann. Hell, Keith Olbermann? Keithy Poo! Keithy was the original maniac. You can make the case that Keithy was the first one that was indoctrinated with the woke fungus. In every one of these cases, once they lost their job in the mainstream media, they never got another one. So maybe, just maybe, MSNBC is shifting directions. Maybe MSNBC is distancing themselves from the maniacs and returning to just being a liberal network. We'll see what happens going forward, but if MSNBC is trying to eradicate the fungus, firing Joy Reid and her entire staff, that's a good start. Will that be enough to fix their ratings? Probably not, at least not initially. MSNBC still has the same problem. They don't have any credibility. Remove mythical racism from the equation. Rachel Maddow was one of the leading voices in the illusion of Russian collusion. There are still plenty of people at MSNBC who are comparing the Trumper to Adolf. Firing Joy Reid and her staff, that's a start, but it's not enough. But at least MSNBC is doing something. CNN, they haven't done a damn thing. They keep featuring the same unknown failures and wondering why their ratings haven't improved. Anyway, give me your thoughts on this. MSNBC not only fires Joy Reid, they fire her entire staff. Joy Reid uploads a video to social media crying over the loss of her woke welfare. Is MSNBC trying to eradicate the fungus, or is this just a virtue signal? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.